In this lesson, we will be installing our development environment, which we will be using for the remainder of the course. The development environment we're going to use, or the IDE, is Spring Tool Suite. So if you open a web browser and go to Google and just type in Spring Tool Suite, you will see the first result here is spring.io/tools. And we can visit the website for the Spring Tool Suite. Now, the Spring Tool Suite is an IDE based upon Eclipse. However, it has been retrofitted with Spring tooling. So there are many features that really accelerate and aid Spring development within the Spring Tool Suite. It's basically an Eclipse version that has been customized for Spring development. So on the Spring Tool Suite webpage, if we scroll down, we can see the download link for the tool. Now, I normally click on the See All Versions link because I need to download a 64-bit version of the application. I'm using a Windows platform, so I can simply click and expand the options, and then I simply click on the 64-bit zip file. It's very easy to install this file. So here it prompts me to download the 64-bit distribution of Spring Tool Suite. I'm actually going to cancel this download. In your case, you would like to save the file somewhere, preferably to your desktop. I've already downloaded the file, so we can just move on to the install from my desktop. But you'll also see, and I'd like to point out, that there are distributions for Mac and Linux. So if you're using a different operating system, you will find the available distributions of the tool on the site. So now I'm just going to jump to my desktop, and you'll notice that I have placed the zip file corresponding with the proper distribution for my operating system onto my desktop. If I right-click on that zip file, I can go to my extraction tool, and I can just extract these files to my desktop. So there you see it created the STS bundle folder, and that's going to house the Spring Tool Suite. Now, once we are done unzipping these files, I'll open that up and show you what that directory consists of. Okay, so our file has finished extracting. So we can open this directory, and within this directory, we see two important folders. First is the Pivotal TC server, and that is a Tomcat server that has been customized with different tools to support the deployment of Spring and other Pivotal products. The more important directory is the sts-3.6.4.release directory, and this basically houses the IDE. And it looks very similar to an Eclipse directory, a directory that contains an Eclipse install. Here you see an sts-ini file that has all of the parameters when you start the IDE. In Eclipse, it's an eclipse.ini file, and you really see a lot of the same parameters there. But to go ahead and start the Spring Tool Suite IDE, you can simply double-click on sts.exe. I would recommend creating a shortcut to this exe file. You'll be opening it quite often, and it's nice not to have to navigate into this directory. So here we see the splash screen for the IDE, and we'll have to wait as it loads. Usually the first time you load it, it takes a little bit longer, but then the second or third time you open it, when you have restarted your machine, it works a lot quicker. So the first thing it's going to prompt me with now is to pick a workspace. So this is where all of our projects will be stored. If you are familiar with Eclipse, you're very accustomed to this workspace. So what I like to do is just place the workspace on my desktop. So here I see my desktop. I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call this sts-workspace. And then I will select the newly created folder, and then I also will check this option to use this as the default. That way we don't get this prompt every time we open STS. So we'll hit OK. And now we'll see that Spring Tool Suite begins to load the different Eclipse packages. Okay, and here we see that the IDE has loaded, and The first time we open the IDE, we'll have to size it up to what we'd like, and you can close the tips it's going to display. And you'll notice that it greets you with a dashboard giving you some information about Spring. So as we work through the course, we're going to learn a lot about this IDE, and we're going to talk about how to work with the Spring tolling that's been built into this Eclipse mod. One of the things you see right off the bat is that it has already registered that Pivotal TC server. So we already have an application server, or that servlet container that we can use to run our web applications. If this were a vanilla Eclipse version, we would actually need to point to our Tomcat server and create that server within our IDE. So that's one of the nice features that they already set up the server for you. And we're going to see more of those as we work through the course.